Welcome to the Explainer. So today we are breaking down a really complex, absolutely explosive set of claims that came out of a recent and highly discussed whistleblower press conference. We're talking about alleged covert operations, UAPs, and some literally shocking accusations leveled against rogue factions supposedly operating right here in the United States. Now, whether you're already deep into this topic or just catching up, my goal today is to impartially map out exactly what these speakers are claiming, taking the information straight from the source.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Stay here and die, or come with us and be our slaves. I mean, wow, that chilling ultimatum really sets an incredibly grim tone for these allegations. According to the speakers, this quote actually reflects the underlying reality for a group of individuals they call psionic operators. Basically people who are allegedly coerced into serving these rogue government factions. We're going to explore exactly who these operators are and how they fit into a much larger, highly tactical puzzle. To navigate these dense and pretty shocking claims, we're going to use a really straightforward framework. First, we'll look at the alleged shadow factions. Then, how they reportedly exploit human operators. Third, the tactics they allegedly use to down autonomous craft. Fourth, the sweeping claims of domestic cover-ups. And finally, number 5, the speaker's proposed path to oversight. Section 1, the shadow factions. We're talking about the claim of two distinct governments. And this brilliantly illustrates the entire premise of the press conference. It all rests on this massive structural claim, the alleged existence of two distinct governments operating at the exact same time. On one side, you have the legal government, the one bound by the Constitution, reporting to the president and Congress. But on the other side, embedded right within it but completely separate, is what they're calling a shadow government. The speakers claim this rogue faction is illegally funded, entirely unauthorized, and basically operating with total impunity against the interest of the public. But, and this is a crucial distinction, the source material is very careful to separate the people working in these programs from the people actually leading them. The whistleblowers claim that the vast majority of the personnel are actually good operators. We're talking highly trained folks from military, special ops, telecom backgrounds, people who are essentially trapped behind what they call the wall and want to blow the whistle. Conversely, the leadership? Well, they're described as deeply dangerous, sociopathic individuals who are manipulating the narrative strictly for power and control. Section 2, exploiting psionic operators. Let's look at the human cost. So, if the claims of a shadow faction are the structural foundation, this part represents the severe human cost. The source introduces this very specific piece of jargon, psionic operators. According to the press conference, these are human beings allegedly recruited from impoverished or war-torn regions across the globe. The claim is that they're lured in with false promises, food, money, safety. But once they're recruited, they are allegedly given advanced drug cocktails designed to artificially loosen their serotonin levels and enhance their consciousness. Why? Well, the claim is it's to turn them into biological interfaces meant to interact with extraterrestrial craft. And the terminology reportedly used by the leadership is just brutal. The speakers allege that these human beings are referred to as pink assets. It's a highly disturbing euphemism, right? It essentially treats human operators as completely expendable biological equipment. They're comparing them quite literally to cattle. The human toll described here is catastrophic. The whistleblowers are claiming that a lot of these individuals end up in comas or even die during these incredibly high-stress operations. Section 3, downing autonomous craft. Moving on to autonomous targets. Now, this is where the speakers transition away from the human element and get into highly tactical methods. A fascinating detail from the source material is what exactly is being targeted in the first place. Pop culture almost always imagines these manned flying saucers with little green men, right? But the speakers allege that many of the targeted systems are actually completely autonomous. They describe these craft, like something called the Lugosphere, as possessing highly advanced AI and this profound level of consciousness that is fully integrated into the physics of the space they occupy. Let's move to the next point and see how this builds into a very specific tactical process. The whistleblowers literally outline a step-by-step playbook that they claim is executed 2 to 3 times a year. Step 1. These rogue factions establish a temporary flight restriction, or a TFR, just to clear out civilian airspace. Step 2. They use those psionic operators we talked about to draw in or track the craft. Step 3. They strike the target using advanced systems like the Leonidas, which they describe as an EMP or microwave scalar weapon. And finally, Step 4. highly militarized recovery teams are immediately deployed to scoop up the downed technology.
And the technology allegedly used to bring these craft down, it's highly controversial. To quote the whistleblowers directly, an EMP weapon is illegal. What it really is a souped-up system that creates an electromagnetic pulse with a scalar signal in it that will take these craft down. The speakers emphatically argue that these factions are out there utilizing weapons that are strictly banned by international non-proliferation treaties, but they're hiding them under the guise of simple drone deterrence.
Section 4. Allegations of cover-ups. Let's dig into the alleged domestic crimes.
To keep an operation of this massive magnitude a secret, the whistleblowers allege that an extensive network of domestic crimes absolutely has to be committed. And the list of alleged crimes is sweeping. It's severe. The speakers are accusing these rogue operators of treason, targeted assassinations, sometimes called wet works, kidnapping, human trafficking, and the embezzlement of vast sums of money. What's highly notable here is the visible frustration coming from the speakers. They claim they have already delivered ironclad evidence of these crimes to the authorities, yet they express deep dismay that federal agencies, like the DOJ and the FBI, have allegedly taken absolutely zero action. And this total lack of trust extends directly to the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, widely known as ARO. Now, Congress originally established ARO to provide official oversight and transparency for UAPs, but the whistleblowers present a starkly different picture. They allege that ARO actually functions as a criminal enterprise. They claim it was explicitly designed to identify whistleblowers, obtain their highly classified information, and then issue false, twisted reports back to Congress just to maintain the cover-up. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the financial mechanism allegedly used to fuel all of this. $30,000. You've probably heard that old running joke about the Pentagon buying $30,000 hammers or toilet seats, right? Well, the speakers allege this is actually no joke. Actually, it's a deliberate accounting trick. They claim incredibly inflated prices for mundane, everyday items are used to illegally route ordinary taxpayers' dollars straight into these deep, black budget programs. And the human cost of trying to expose this secret financing is allegedly very real. The speakers shared this completely chilling anecdote about a former CIA director back in 1995. According to the source, this director had prepared $50 million in seed money, along with hard operational evidence, to finally bring open-source, zero-point energy to the public. But before the handoff could ever happen, he was reportedly found dead in a river. It was officially deemed a canoeing accident, but the speakers allege it was absolutely a targeted assassination to keep the tech hidden. Section 5, the path to oversight. Let's talk about seeking solutions. So, after detailing all these massive problems, the explainer shifts to the specific demands the speakers are making to finally bring this all to light. Their call to action is multi-pronged. First off, they demand real physical security and full amnesty for the good operators who are currently trapped on the inside. Second, they demand strict congressional oversight. But third, and this is perhaps the most unique part, they argue that because federal authorities are allegedly paralyzed or compromised, state-level governors and attorney generals need to step in. They specifically mention border states like Texas and Arizona, arguing local authorities should investigate the human trafficking and illegal operations allegedly occurring right in their own jurisdictions. Ultimately, the whistleblowers are advocating for a massive paradigm shift in how humanity interacts with these phenomena. They advocate for something called C5 contact. In the source material, this is defined as a peaceful, ambassadorial approach to extraterrestrial intelligence. They argue that weaponizing our airspace and shooting at these things is exactly the wrong approach. Instead, they suggest that a peaceful dialogue could reveal hidden truths about our own human history, truths that these highly advanced consciousnesses might already possess. So the crucial point here is this ultimate goal, a complete transformation. The speakers aren't out here saying we should just abandon national security, not at all. Instead, they propose taking the highly skilled Special Forces operators who are currently working in the shadows and simply redeploying them. By removing the offensive scalar weapon systems, these operators could instead be used to secure safe, protected diplomatic zones. It's shifting the entire mission from shooting craft out of the sky to facilitating peaceful, protected contact. This entire presentation leaves us looking at a massive immediate dilemma. Who actually has the power and the will to hold these alleged deeply entrenched rogue operations accountable? And will the legal government step up and provide a safe, protected off-ramp for the thousands of good men and women allegedly trapped behind the wall, just waiting to tell their stories? We've unpacked an extraordinary amount of dense and explosive material today, and it leads us to a final, really provocative thought. If even a fraction of what these whistleblowers claim about shadow factions, the tragic exploitation of psionic operators, and the reality of advanced ET consciousness is true, what does it fundamentally mean for our understanding of human history? And, just as importantly, what does it mean for the future of true government oversight? It's a fascinating, deeply challenging question. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and remember, keep asking the big questions.